Good morning, folks. Jason Chrisman, JC's Bees. Hey, you remember a couple weeks ago when I got some products from Bee Smart? Today I'm going to open these boxes. We're going to see what's inside, and then I'm going to take a little time off camera, play around with the parts, see what all I've got, and then at the end of this video what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a mock setup where I take the parts in these boxes and we do a mock setup of everything and see how it looks. So first, let's see what's in the boxes. So in our first big box here from Bee Smart, we have, and you can see I did already open it, we have a couple different things. One of them comes shooting out at you. This here is an inner cover. Looks very interesting. I'm very anxious to try it out. There's a spot here in the middle. You can pop a cap off and the bees can come up through it. There's a piece of styrofoam which draws immediate attention to me as an experienced beekeeper. It might be polystyrene and not styrofoam, but either way, bees will chew this. So this is an inner cover. Pretty cool looking. It's got an entrance there on the end. And we'll set that down here and we'll move right along. Next we have an insulated top cover. Very nice. Kind of light from what I was thinking it would be, but it feels durable. Yeah, it feels pretty durable. So that would be the outer cover. In here we have the Bee Smart bottom board, which this looks rather interesting. We got a removable sticky board. We've got some instructions, and it looks like we have 3 little entrance reducers, and here's what they look like up close. But there is 3 of them. So, in this first, oh no, there's 4. There's 4 of the entrance reducers. And my guess, without looking at the instructions, is they would sit in these holes that go right across the bottom of the bottom board, and they would snap in. But that doesn't seem to be right, so I'll probably have to read the instructions. And I hate reading instructions, but it is what it is. We got some more parts in here that go with the bottom board, I believe. We've got a robbing screen, which will be greatly appreciated by the bees. And then we have these 4 arms here. I guess I'm going to have to read over the instructions to see how these work. Uh-oh. And I got a beekeeping back scratcher Fred done. You're not the only one with the back scratcher, buddy. Oh wait, that's probably not what it's for. I think this is actually to reach up in your entrance and clean out dead bees in the wintertime. It may not be a back scratcher. We'll get more into this in a little bit. And a little packet of hardware and some little plastic inserts. So I'm gonna have to read over the instructions, but in the first box, let's go back over it. We got the beekeeping back scratcher or the hive cleaner. We got some miscellaneous pieces and parts. We got the entrance reducer, more miscellaneous pieces and parts, bag of hardware, very detailed instructions, bottom board, screened bottom board, insulated hive top cover, insulated inner cover. So that was a pretty good box, wasn't it? I'm pretty excited to see how all this goes together. Let's see what's in box number 2. Box number 2. Here we have a hive feeder. This is pretty cool looking. This is a top hive feeder. It goes on top of their inner cover, I believe. Pretty cool. I'm anxious to check this out in our mock setup and see how it all goes together. So I'm going to set this off to the side. Here what we have is the BeSmart Ultra Uncapping System. And it's not that I know that, it's actually right on the back. So we'll be diving into this in a little bit and seeing how this all works. We've got hive handles. Now these are a souped up rendition of a handle for beehives. And I'm kind of anxious to see how these look on a box and how well they work. So I'll be installing these for later in the video. Pry points. What are pry points? Pry points are just that. Instead of prying on the corners of your box and messing up the wood, you put these on your box and you pry between these. Therefore, there's no damage to your box. And here we have the magnetic hive holder. Here we have the magnetic hive tool holder. Now that looks rather interesting. So let's recap what was in the second box. We have the hive tool holder. We got the pry points. We've got the ultimate uncapping system. We've got some souped up handles to put on our hive. And we've got a top hive feeder. Now, as the day progresses, I'm going to play around with this stuff a little bit and see how it all works so I can enlighten you all. And then we're going to do a mock setup to finish up this video and see how it all looks. So right now, there's going to be a long pause for me, but not so much for you. Probably just as soon as I click my fingers, you'll be able to see the mock-up. Are you ready? 3, 2, 1. See? Magic. The magic of video. So, I did a little bit of research and here's what I found out. These entrance reducers, this morning when I was sticking them in, I was sticking them in backwards. That's why they were not going in. The face of them looks like this. The back of them looks like this. This part, the smooth part, or the smooth side, needs to go towards the bottom board. And what it gives you the option to do is either reduce a section to where nothing can get in, or you can flip it over and make it so bees can get in. And you've got that with 3 different ones across the face here. Pretty cool. Now, one thing that did puzzle me was these. And there's 4 of them. 2 of them are, well, there's 2 of each, I guess. So I had to reach out to BeSmart to see how they work and what they're for. And they go on the bottom board. They're in case you use 8-frame equipment. Let's see here. You would put these on each side, and that makes it so that an 8-frame box fits on here. Pretty simple. But I know I was puzzled by them at first. So since I use 10-frame equipment, we're going to throw these off to the side, but that's what they are and how they're used. As I mentioned earlier, we do have a removable sticky board and some nice ventilation at the bottom. You gotta wiggle this back and forth a little bit to go back in its track, but very nice. So what we're going to do is mock set this up real quick, and I'm going to show you how all this would go together in one setup. I got a lot of pieces and parts scattered out here, so just work with me a little bit here. So there's the bottom board. I took a deep hive body I got here and I've set it up to stick on here. Now if we look here, we've got these plastic rivets, and there's enough rivets in each package to do 6 boxes. And what that's for is these handles. And you can move these handles from box to box as you need them, and you don't have to rely on these little narrow handholds. So they just hook on there like that, and then when you're not using them, you slide it down and slide it off. Pretty simple. So I've taken the liberty of putting those on the front and the back, and I can now take this plastic handle, put on the back, and we'll set it up on our hive stand, or our bottom board. Pretty cool. So we'll set those to the side, but like I said, that's how they work, and you do get enough of these plastic rivets and screws to do 6 boxes. Okay, so we're going to pretend this is full of frames. So we'd have 10 frames in there, an active colony, and now we want to give them the insulated cover. Now, as I pointed out earlier, there is a hole for an entrance on one end, and what that allows the bees to do is they'll come in that hole, they'll walk down this path, well, they'll go through this center tube and down into the colony. Now, it's my experience that tells me that the bees are probably going to chew on this polystyrene just a little bit, and it could make this tunnel have some bigger cavities than I want. So my suggestion is going to be, or what I am going to do, is I'm going to take some foil heat tape like they would use on air ducting and heat ducting, and I'm going to press it down in that area. That way the bees don't have any interest in chewing on it. I'm also going to do it around here. And you just snap it back in. And I do want to mention there's a little entrance wheel disc that comes underneath this styrofoam when you buy this, and that's optional to use, and it's right here. Also, the instructions on how to use it were underneath this piece of styrofoam. So we can see we've got pins on the bottom, and these pins line right up with our box. So now there's no shifting of anything. There's actually also pins on the bottom board. So the box is locked in place, the inner cover is locked in place. Now if we want, we can remove the center cap, in which there's a storage place for it right over here. Fits in there nice. And now we could stick on our Bee Smart feeder. And it came with these little feet that I had to stick on, and I was actually worried that the feet are all kind of connected together with a little piece of plastic and you got to break them off. Well, on my little section of feet there was only 3, but when I shook the container I could hear something inside. They actually stuck the 4th one inside. So I've got all 4 of my feet on, and you can use it either way, with the feet or without the feet. Very nice container for feeding. It's got a rubber seal here. And let's get a close-up of the feeder holes. There's a close-up of the bottom. The instructions do say never fill it partially, always fill it all the way full, because it needs a full feeder to create the suction to hold the syrup up in. So if you fill it halfway full, bring it out here and invert it, all of this is going to leak onto your bees. So always fill it to the top, then put your lid on. Well, if you notice on the inner cover, there's 4 indentions here. Well, those indentions happen to be for these feet. So we can set this right over top. The bees can come up and they can eat the syrup there and go back down into the colony. They can mingle around up here a little bit down in these indentations, but for the most part, they're probably going to go back down. So if we've got this in feeding mode, now this box here isn't actually a medium, it's a super, but it'll give you a general idea on what I'm meaning here. You would take your other box, stick right down over top of it like so, and then you would throw on the Bee Smart insulated cover, top cover. just like so. Now, since this box isn't a medium, the feeder is sticking up a little bit, but it gives you a general idea on how it would all work together. So now what I want to do is move down here real quick. We'll remove these. We'll set these off to the side. And we'll install our robbing screen. Now, when we take a closer look at it, the way this works is, when it's on your hive, any bee that does not belong to the colony naturally goes to the scent. Think of it as, I've referred to it a lot in the past, as a steakhouse. Usually when you go to a nice steakhouse to eat, as soon as you get out of the car, you can smell the aroma of that steak cooking inside the restaurant. Well, it's the same come robbing season when other bees want to rob hives. And what they're going to do is they're going to go to the entrance where they can smell the scent. Not of steak, of course, but honey, nectar. So they're going to come down here when really the home bees know, because you stuck this on early in the spring and they've got used to it, that the entrances are actually up here. There's one there and there's one here. Now, you don't have to use both, and you can regulate how much you want each one open. So it does take a little time for the bees to adjust once you stick this on the colony. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start the season out with this on and go from there and see how it works. But you can notice at the top there is some push pins or tacks, and these are to install it. So let's get it installed on the colony here, and I'll show you how this works. So basically, you're going to take these little points that stick out the bottom, you're going to drop it down in the little, down in the place where these went in, and you're going to use the little push pins to hold it in place. Just like so. And now we can regulate how much entrance we want the bees to have, but we'll do it up here. And that any other bees think you need to enter down here. So any bee that you see trying to get in down here, most likely a robbing bee. So my first impressions on everything, I like it a lot. The one thing that or the two things I'm concerned about, just my first impressions, is this lid feels really light. You would definitely want to strap this down. And that's something else I should probably point out, is the bottom board actually has a notch for a 1-inch strap to go around this, and it won't make the bottom board rock because it's notched. So that's handy to have. Like I said, I do have concerns with the lid, and my other concern is with the polystyrene and the bees. I've seen it too many times in the past that bees do like to chew on foam. So that's my only concerns. Everything I really like. It seems to be made really well. We'll see. I'm going to get some bees installed in this probably the first of next week, and we'll keep an eye on it and see how it does. Now, one thing I want to go over here real quick is these push points. And I only took the liberty of sticking one on, or one set, and it comes with several here. Let's see, there's one set, 2, 3, 4, 5, must be 6 boxes, just like the handles. So the push points, the way they would work, you got your boxes stacked up, and you come over to make an inspection. The first thing we always do as a beekeeper, besides smoke the bees, is we take our hive tool and we wedge it between the corner of the box and we start prying. Well, over a period of time, that will damage the wood on your box. So what they've come up with is these points here. And what that allows you to do, come in with your hive tool right into these points, and you pry on them and break your boxes apart. Just like so. So, pretty neat design. I definitely like it. Could be handy. And save your boxes. The hive tool holder, I used it today while I was making some splits. Worked really well. The only thing that I didn't like about it is my normal hive tool, my favorite hive tool. If you all follow me long enough, you know which one's my favorite, and this isn't it. It's got a wood handle and it's got several uses. This thing did not like it too much. So if you have one of them, this probably isn't going to be for you. Actually, the magnet wasn't strong enough to hold the weight of it. Over a period of time of just walking, it would fall on the ground. So if you use a hive tool like this or the J hook, this is going to work wonderfully. We've got storm rolling in, so I'm trying to act quick here. This is the ultimate uncapping system. And what we've got here is we've got a tool for prying frames apart on one end. We've got a scraper, and the scraper actually snaps in to the bottom here. And it looks like our frame would set up here so we could scrape it. But really, folks, in order to give you more of a demonstration on this, I would have to have a frame of honey to extract, and I do not have that right now. But I can see how it would be handy if you've only got 1 or 2 hives and don't have an uncapping tank. I will be trying this out. We're just going to have to wait until I have some honey to extract to fully put it through the use. And that's what I plan to do with all of this stuff. So if you're interested in seeing how the Be Smart equipment works out for me, make sure you subscribe and do it now. That way you can stay in tune with it and see how it all works before you make the investment. Yeah, I think that's it. So if you have any questions or comments, or maybe a suggestion or something to point something out that maybe I forgot to mention, leave it down in the comments section. I'm going to gather all this stuff up before this rain gets moved in here. So I hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time, folks.